So check this out, people. Today I want to talk about something that's going to bother a lot of people, both men and women, right? Especially women. And the reason why I want to talk about this is because every time I watch television or every time I hear one of these new kids on the block, right? We just got here yesterday. And what I mean is this new generation, right? This new generation of weak men and this new generation of women who complain about everything, who refuse to cook for the man that works for them, who refuse to wash his laundry, who refuse to be a housewife to the man who to she wants him to pay the bills for her, but she won't be a woman to him. Yet she wants him to be a man to her, right? And so I'm going to talk about both these things. But the main thing that really bothers me about this new generation of women today is that every time a woman who has children talks about her life, talks about her job, or talks about anything, she always has to refer to herself as a single mother, right? I'm a single mother. I'm a single mother, as if though that's something to brag about, as if though that's something that just became the norm, being a single mother, right? Because when I was growing up in the Bronx on 139th Street between Brook and Willis Avenue, the majority of women, 9 out of 10 women, were single mothers. And I never heard that term before. I never heard a woman say, I'm a single mother, ever. I never heard a woman say, I'm raising children by myself, because that was normal. It was normal for a woman who had children to be the head of household, to be the single parent, right? Because that's something that's been going on for thousands and thousands of years. We all know that the majority of men are irresponsible, right? We know that the majority of men, the way we were created, was to basically drop our seed and bounce. You see that in nature. You see it in lions where the women hunt and the male lion just sits back and eats after they're done the killing, right? The female lions. After they've done the killing, the male lion comes in and he eats, and then he just chills. His job is to protect the pride, right? And so it's no different in humans. And I know this is a subject that a lot of women aren't going to like, but the fact is this, that there's nothing to be proud about when you say that you're a single parent or a single mother. I could understand if you were married and your husband died and you became a single mother. I could understand if you were married and your husband left you and you became a single mother. But we know that the majority of women who are single mothers are irresponsible. And the reason why they're irresponsible is because the woman has control of her body. Every time you turn on the news, especially when you listen to Democrats, they say, my body, my choice. My body, my choice. It's always their body and their choice when it comes to having an abortion, right? But when they have a child out of wedlock because they're irresponsible, it's no longer their body, their choice. Now it's the man's choice. Now he's got to pay child support. Now they got to go after him. Now they got to bother him, right? But it's not his choice to choose whether or not he wants her to keep the baby. It's her choice. And you see the nonsense that goes on here. And so when I listen to a woman say, oh, I'm a single mother, if I were you ladies, I'd keep that to myself. Because what you're telling me is that you were irresponsible. Because in the end, you opened the door to a man and you let him in. And I know a lot of women might say, oh yeah, but he took part in it too. Of course he took part in it. You gave it to him. If you give it to a man, he's going to take it. And then when he knocks you up, after you say to him, don't come inside me, don't come inside me. Yeah, right. Like a man can actually control that urge to want to come inside a woman. The fact is that the majority of men cannot. The majority of men cannot. And you, being the keeper of your body, right? And your body, your choice, you should have from the beginning been in control of whether a man comes inside of you or not. You tell him to put on a condom. If he doesn't put it on, he can't come in. You open your legs, right? You open the door to him and you say, come in. And then when you get pregnant by a man who wasn't interested in you as a wife, as a partner, he just wanted to have sex with you, just the same way you wanted to have sex with him. And then when you get pregnant, now all of a sudden, I'm a single mother. I'm a single mother. Like if that's something that you should be showing off about. It's nothing to be showing off about. It's nothing worthy of a woman who's a single mother, other than the fact that her husband left her or he died. But if you're just some chick who is having random sex with guys and you have a child out of wedlock by some guy that you met at a club or some guy that you met at school or some guy on the block, right, that you found cute, and you got pregnant and you're a single mother, that's your problem. It is. And I don't understand how this generation thinks that they're special when they call themselves a single mother. Because like I said, the majority of women when I was growing up were single mothers. Hell, the majority of women I know today are single mothers. I was a single father for many years. You think that's something special? You think that's something that I need to tell the world about when I have to go to work and I'm late and I have to tell the boss, oh, I'm a single father. Like he gives a fuck, really. That's not his problem. It's not anybody's problem that I'm a single father. It is my job as a father, as a man, to take care of my children when I have them. And it is the responsibility of a woman who is a single mother, who is irresponsible, to take care of the children that she has, because that's what a woman is supposed to do. And there's nothing special about being a single mother. And I know you don't want to hear that, and I know you don't like that, because this generation thinks they're special. But the fact is that for thousands of years, women have been single mothers. For thousands of years, and it's never going to change. It's not just in the US. Hell, come to the Philippines. Come to the Philippines and see how many single mothers there are here. And you rarely hear a woman saying, I'm a single mother. Rarely. The only women I notice who say I'm a single mother are the women who are educated and the women who have good jobs. The funny thing is that you don't hear the poor women saying that, because they know that that's how life is. Right? It's those who seem to become educated and modernized who think that being a single mother is something special. And the fact is that it ain't. It's not special. It's special when it's rare. But when it's not rare, look, when I was growing up, I was told that men were dogs. I heard that over and over and over again from women. And as I got older, I realized that women are not much different. Because if men are dogs, women are bitches. And don't be offended, because the word bitch is simply a female dog. So let's just keep it real. That the majority of times when a man has sex with a woman, it's not because he came onto her, it's because she came onto him. And a man can only have sex with a woman if she gives it to him. So if a man is a dog, it's because he's climbing on top of a bitch who's allowing him to do so. So I don't understand how women today can come out thinking that being a single mother is something that they should be bragging about. And again, like I said, I know the words I'm saying may be offensive. I'm not trying to be. I'm keeping it real because I have 4 daughters. 4 daughters that I raised. 3 of them I raised part-time by myself for some 3 or 4 years, and my youngest, who I raised by myself for the majority of her life. She left my house at 23 years old. It was just me and her. I cooked, I cleaned, I did the dishes, I made sure she had everything she needed. I dropped her off in school, I went to work, I came home in the middle of my work shift to pick her up from school, drop her off back home, to go back to work and finish my shift. And every day she came home from work, or from school rather, she always saw me sitting on that chair waiting for her every single day, because that's what a parent is supposed to do. Don't think that I should be thinking I'm special, or that I should be getting some special award for doing my job, because that's what you're supposed to do as a father, is take care of your children. And for those men who don't, this is why your life is so fucked up. Because you want to come before God and say, God, I need your help. God, I need this. God, why is my life like this? Why is my life like that? Why don't you ask your children why your life is like that? Because you want to come before your Father who's in heaven, but who do your children go to when they need something? They can't come to their father, right? But yet you want to go to your Father and ask him for good things. Who do your children ask for good things when they need it? Not you, because you're not there. And so when you are a father to your children, you don't need to be patted on the back. You don't need any special rewards. That's your job. And when you are a mother, whether you are a single mother or a married mother, your job is to tend to your children. And the fact is, when a woman gets pregnant, just like it's her body, her choice when it comes to having an abortion, it is your body, your choice when you get knocked up and you have a baby by a man who was never interested in you. And you can't tell me that when you have sex with a man that you've only known for 3 months, 6 months, a year, and then you get pregnant, you want to blame him and call him irresponsible when he had no intentions of wanting to be with you. The majority of men and women who have sex together are not having it because they're in love. They're having it because they're lusting after each other. And women crave sex more than men. This is why the majority of American women own a vibrator or a dildo. But yet the men are dogs. You understand what I'm saying, ladies? Because you can't live without it. You got to get a robot to satisfy you. And then when you get a man and you get pregnant because you let him in, you blame him for your irresponsibilities. I have 4 daughters. And each time they got pregnant, because I'm a grandfather, it was them who chose to get pregnant. It wasn't the man's choice to get them pregnant. It was the man's choice to want to get off, because that's what men want to do. See, but my daughters are married with good husbands and children, and they have their families with men who take care of their responsibilities, and they shouldn't be praised for that. They're supposed to do that. But because we live in a generation of men who don't take care of their children, of women who brag about being single parents, because the majority of women don't even want to get married, they just want to have sex. And when they do want to get married, it's not because they want to marry the man, it's because they want to marry the wedding. They want this big show, they want this big production. And so they get the production rather than focusing on the relationship or the man they're about to marry. They want to marry someone just so that they can say, oh, look at my wedding dress. Look at my reception. The majority of women in this world are single parents, are single mothers. That's not something to brag about. Hell, when a man is a single parent and he's home taking care of his son or his daughter, that's a rare thing. That's something to brag about. I know you don't like what I'm saying, ladies. I know you don't like that. But how many of you women know any man who's a single father who goes home to his children every day, who doesn't date, who sits at home waiting for his children to come home from school, who cooks, who cleans, who takes care of his children, and did his job all the way up until they grew up, and then got on with his life. How many women know men like that? Because I don't know many men like that. But if there is a man like that, that's a rare thing. And that is something to brag about. But to be a father and take responsibilities for your children is nothing to brag about, because that's what you're supposed to do as a man. And as a woman, it is your job to take care of your children, whether you're married, whether you're single, whether you have a partner or not. But don't blame a man because you're a single parent. Don't blame the boss because he complains when you don't show up for work on time, because you can't find a babysitter, or because you can't pay for daycare. Your body, your choice. You chose to let the man between your thighs. You chose to have the baby. Now you're a single mother. Deal with it. It's nothing special. That's life, ladies.